Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
RoadReader.com. Same as always today on silver. They're playing with the moving averages. Nobody knows which way it's going to break, as you can tell from this chart right here. They're going to touch it and run away, touch it and run away, touch it and run away. When it breaks through, it's going to run. The question is, above the moving averages, who's going to short? According to Jeffrey Christian, it is the job of the commercials to short silver to satisfy customer demand for silver longs. That's what Jeffrey Christian believes. That's kind of the same thing that Jeff Curry of Goldman Sachs said during an interview during the silver squeeze. Oh, by the way, I saw that movie Dumb Money last night. Check it out, Dumb Money. It's on streaming on, I think I bought it on Amazon Prime. Very interesting. It was about the GameStop retail induced short squeeze of the criminals that rigged the price. Really good movie, actually. It gives a lot of insight to people who don't know that our markets are rigged. It lets them see it, how it happens, when it happens, how it all goes down, and how the banking elite and the regulators and the exchanges all protect each other. Very important movie to see, in my opinion. It could never happen in silver the way it did in GameStop, only because the U.S. government would be involved 100% in any kind of attempt at short squeezing silver, and the regulators as well. As we saw when it kind of started in 2021, along with GameStop, there was a silver Wall Street Bets push that never got past $30. Again, they brought in the CFTC, the regulator, to tamp down the prices, as the head of the CFTC said. But also they used the U.S. Mint hedge book to short massive amounts of silver before it hit $30. That's why the U.S. Mint showed a $112 million loss in 2021. Yes, your government is actively stopping your investments from trading freely. Hearing a lot of word of mines actually shutting down now. Silver mines shutting down because of the manipulation of the government and the banks in silver. And this is just, it's so sad to see my country fall to what it has fallen to. But it won't help. In the end, and I was thinking about this during that movie, in the end, it's only going to take about $20 billion to destroy the entire market, and for the COMEX to shut down and everybody to say, oh, sorry, we have no silver left. And when that happens, when this war breaks out, and I think it will be breaking out very soon, the U.S. government and the regulators in the Western world will say, oh, we have to freeze the markets, because the markets are extremely fragile. They're rigged by just a handful of institutions, and when that game's over, it's over for good. So they're going to call force majeure. All of a sudden, nobody has to pay anything. As if you own SLV, you will lose. You won't get any silver, obviously, but you probably won't even get any money out. So just keep that in mind, especially with mining stocks. There's not a country in the world that would allow a foreigner to control their wealth in the ground when the world implodes. When the banking system fails, nobody's going to allow, like the U.S. Shareholders of mines in Mexico, they're not going to allow it. They're not going to allow U.S. Rich people to even have any shot at that. It'll go to zero. All the mining companies will go to zero, including in the U.S., because it's that big. I mean, a bank failure means we have to go to something else. And no, there'll be no stocks, bonds, all that. It was all a derivative game anyway. Stocks are derivatives of the value in the ground of the actual company. And by the way, your stock isn't even owned by you. It's owned by your brokerage house, and then behind that, it's owned by the DTCC, and behind that, it's owned by Seed and Company. So don't play their game. Stocks are derivatives of the potential of a mining company. Yes, I get they're cheap compared to what they. But Bix, they have so much wealth in the ground. Agreed, they have too much wealth in the ground. That's the problem. When the banks fail, all countries are going to put their arms around their own country and say, "What do we have?" Globalization will end instantly. Yeah, we're at that point. No more fucking around. Just get your physical silver in your own possession. Let me show you what I did yesterday. Had a long conversation with Jean Claude and Andy Scheckman about banking failures and where we're headed with this silver situation, how silver can save people or can harm people. Again, if you're in ETF silver, kiss it goodbye. If you're in mining shares, kiss them goodbye. I get it. I get it. I get that they're very valuable, and I understand that. But they're also derivatives. For example, PSLV had, 8 million ounces taken out by BlackRock of PSLV. PSLV is the Sprott ETF for silver up in Canada. They went in, they bought the shares, and then they took delivery of 8 million ounces. BlackRock did. And by the way, what does BlackRock own? They own SLV. Most likely that silver went right into SLV, meaning SLV had nowhere else to go to find silver. And they will default, declare force majeure. Don't forget who controls the inventories of SLV. It is JP Morgan Chase. I couldn't think of a worse entity for BlackRock to choose to hold the physical storage of silver. The entity that was fined the highest precious metals fine ever, $920 million by the DOJ, the SEC, and it's clear from reading the documentation and reading the messages sent back and forth from traders to different banks that it's all rigged, a whole 100% rigged, every day, every trade. They usually don't even have to say anything. It's all done by computers months beforehand. So get your physical silver, get out of this system before it's over. I love this this little front page that Jean-Claude made. The end is near with the lightning. That's pretty cool, but it's true. I've been in this game 23 years now, fighting the fight to free gold and silver from manipulation, and from everything I've seen, we are at the end game. And I've been talking about the end game for at least 15 years. What is the end game? I used to own, don't get me wrong, I used to own ETFs and stocks, and, well, there weren't ETFs for metals back then, but I used to own the mining companies and all that, and I knew it. I knew that massive wealth on the ground, but you walk it through, and it's like, oh my God, at the end of the day, when the banks collapse, none of these mining companies are going to be able to hang on to their wealth in the ground. It'll all be nationalized. And if not nationalized, taxed so heavily, and the metal actually used in each country, because we're going to go back to a gold and silver standard, at least in the U.S. And if the rest of the world follows the U.S. lead, yeah, probably the rest of the world will too. Now, people talk about England. Well, they don't have any mines, gold and silver mines in England. They have SLV inventories. They have GLD inventories. That was all part of that. They know exactly what's going on. The Western world has been stealing the wealth of the world for so very long. The United States doesn't have 8,200 tons of gold. They have millions of tons of gold. Some of it has been taken out of the ground. Some of it has been used to suppress the price of gold. But truthfully, when you think about who would want to suppress the price of gold, it's not the people holding the gold at the end of the day. That's why gold was allowed to rise 250% from 1980, because the bankers have the gold. You don't have the gold. Most people don't have the gold. Whereas silver is more like the people's metal, other than the JP Morgan fraud that they got busted for. And oh, by the way, if you read closely into the DOJ announcement about what JP Morgan was required to do, it wasn't just the $920 million. There were other stipulations. One was to get rid of the gains that they made, which is the 1.2 billion ounces of silver that they stole from suppressing the prices. And that went through, it was a structured deal that went through Bank of America. That's why Bank of America's OCC data exploded to almost equal what J.P. Morgan had for silver. And then Bank of America is not holding it. I've done a lot of research on that. The three entities that I think it is going to, number one would be the U.S. Mint. The U.S. Mint claims they've massively expanded their Silver Eagle program, but they can't even do half of what they did in 2011. And number two, my guess is Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett isn't doing it to make money. Warren Buffett's doing it to take down the system. And then number three is, theoretically the smartest guy in the world when it comes to business. That would be Elon Musk. You got to listen to his autobiography or read it. He's an amazing guy, and he's literally trying to save the world. But at the same time, he's going to make money running businesses so well. He runs his businesses so well. I mean, down to the, what is the cost of this screw? Why are we paying $5 for a single screw to go into our rocket ship when we go down the hardware store and get the exact same thing? Things like that. He's making rockets for like a 20th. I think it was about a 20th of what the government makes them for. Of course, it's going to be profitable putting satellites up in the sky. Look, Mummy, there's an airplane up in the sky. For all you Pink Floyd lovers. All right, so listen to this discussion, and it's important discussion, and we talk about in-game stuff. And I also chatted with our friend Will Lair. They are running a special on Silver Eagles right now. Go to perpetualassets.com, and you can click on their American Silver Eagles. I'd just call them and say, what's the best deal? Bix sent me, what's the best deal you can get me? And they'll get you a good deal on Silver Eagles. Why Silver Eagles? Because of this. This is the Silver Eagle production. As you can see, February, March, and April, they only did 900,000 ounces each month. Probably the biggest scam ever. And they did it on purpose, and they admitted it, to me at least. The head of Silver Eagle sales, Jack Sermon, admitted it to me. Listen to my 3-part interview. Go to roadtoruta.com. It's free, right? You just scroll down a little on the public page of roadtoruta.com. Let me show you where it is. Go to roadtoruta.com. As soon as you get there, you'll see this. Couple interviews in the beginning, and then a 3-part series. The U.S. Mint and Silver Eagles conspiracy. Is the U.S. Mint breaking the law? And then it goes into sourcing silver blanks and senior management roadblocks, and then a list of ongoing illegal operations at the Mint. And this is all from the head of Silver Eagle sales. And people say, how did you get in touch with them? I called customer service. Customer service couldn't answer my questions about silver. They said they'd get back to me, and they did. They had this head of Silver Eagle sales, a great guy named Jack Sermon, call me up, and we chatted for, I think it's over an hour. And he was not happy. I think he got in trouble for it, because next time I talked to him, he's like, oh boy, senior management really turned a corner, and they're doing great. And that's what happened right here. They went from 900,000 coins, and all of a sudden they could do 1.5 and 1.4 and 2 and 3 and 2.9 and 3.9. And now it looks like they are about to stop again. We are at a point, and why I wanted to get Andy and Will Lair on the line. We're at a point where we're going to see at some point the U.S. Mint stop selling Silver Eagles. And they can blame the war, they can blame whatever they want, because when the banks fail, the U.S. Mint won't be selling Silver Eagles anymore. Silver Eagles will be the money of the United States. So they'll have to allocate the new money to citizens, and how they're going to do that, I have no idea. The Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, where I got the Road to Ruta documents originally, had no idea. They had 60 questions on that new world. Everybody's talking about, revaluation, a change, and I do think it'll be a change. It won't be a revaluation. There won't be anybody deciding these things. It'll be a creative destruction event, is what Alan Greenspan called it. Meaning everything's wiped clean. And it can happen. A too big to fail bank fails, it's over. No more stocks, no more bonds, no more cryptos. Nothing will be traded on any exchange. And it's, how do we restart? How can we restart from there? Yes, of course people will die. People die all the time anyway. And I don't say that lightly. We're all going to die, but we're not all going to live. And that's the key. You need to live your life the best you can, and you want to look back at when you die and your spirit separates from this meat sack. You want to look back at your life and say, oh man, I really did well. I helped so many people along the way. And capitalism is the good thing. If you're not a capitalist, you're a socialist. I love telling that to people because they, I can't charge for what I do. Bix, why are you charging for what you do? It should be free. This is such important information. It should be free. No, that's exactly what I'm against. Socialism has never helped anybody in history. It is the killer of human beings. Capitalism, not necessarily how it's run by the United States of America, where we rig every market. True capitalism, I don't think we've ever seen. Capitalism does promote people trying to do their best, either to survive or to thrive. I'm finishing the Greenspan book from, I think it was 2018. I like his first book better. This is about, basically, he's trying to promote capitalism. And I think he lies during it is the problem. And he knows he's lying during it. For example, during the crash of 2008, when he says, the stock market dropped on September 15th, I'm like, wait a minute. It was September 11th that the good guys attacked the money market funds, and he was absolutely knee-deep in that. He wasn't still at the Fed, but he set it up so that all these mortgage-backed securities would implode. That's what our government does, the Working Group on Financial Markets. That's what Gary Gensler did with the cryptos. He allowed all these DeFi companies to flourish and didn't say anything. They were obviously Ponzi schemes. And he allowed the banks to free flow money in and out for crypto people. They built the bubble and then they crashed it on purpose to destroy whatever you had invested in it. This is something that the United States government has been doing for years. Read John Perkins' book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, and his later books. When I read that book, I was like, well, this shows you exactly what happens. How the United States of America is not that shining, beacon on the hill, but it could be. So, why would they stop selling Eagles? If the banks go down, silver's money all of a sudden. And it's about allocation to the population. How will they allocate the new money? You won't be able to go in with fiat. You won't have any fiat currency. If you have quarters, dimes, and nickels, and the paper in your hand, there won't be any coming out of the banks because the banks will all be insolvent. And that's why I don't like, for example, that the banks are holding, getting into the cryptocurrencies. Well, they're not getting into the crypto. They're getting into Bitcoin, the big institutional. When the system falls apart, the institutions are going to try to stay afloat, which means anything liquid, anything they can sell right away, they will, just to stay afloat. Banks will sell all their Bitcoin, all their gold, all their silver. Now, I don't think they have any silver. Now that JP Morgan silver is gone and funneled through Bank of America never held it. And it ended up where it ended up, I think mostly at the U.S. Treasury for the new system, because Ventures tells us exactly that. For example, here is the 2022 annual report from the Mint. And there's Ventures Gibson, Joe Biden's director of the Mint, who's never worked in a Mint in her life, 40 years of HR experience. You hire someone like Ventures Gibson when you're winding down the operation. But this is the front of this is the director's letter in the U.S. Mint annual report right here. Amid the unprecedented demand for circulating coins, the Mint continues to be a world leader in bullion coin production. By the way, that's false. We aren't anymore for silver. Canada is because of what you've done, Ventures. Anyway, even increasing production quantities of one of our most popular coins, the American silver 1 ounce silver dollar. American Eagle 1 ounce silver dollar. That's a lie. And I've shown that a million times. All you got to do is go to the Mint production numbers, and she is the worst. She has literally stopped production of Silver Eagles. And as we know from my discussion with the head of Silver Eagle sales, he was told to sell as few Eagles as possible. He was told by senior management. First, he was told, don't sell any. He said, I can't do that. This is 100% contradicting the law of the United States of America that says you have to sell, no matter what the cost, you have to sell Silver Eagles at an amount to meet public demand. Period. It is a law. And the price you sell it for is the price you make it for. There is no markup on Silver Eagles. That is the law. I dug a little deeper the other day, and I found this in the 2024 budgeting for the U.S. Mint. I don't know when this came out. It didn't say when it was released, but it's the 2024 budget. And this is on page 12. And I had to find this. They kind of hit it, but under Customer Satisfaction Index, which is a crack up, fiscal year 2022, the Customer Satisfaction Index was 80.2%, which failed to reach the 84.5% target. The Mint fell short of the target as a result of operational changes necessitated by COVID-19. Why not blame everything on COVID-19 for everything you do? It's ridiculous. But here's what is important. Remember, this is for the next year's budget. The Mint is still experiencing a shortage of silver blanks, making it impossible to fully meet customer demand for some of the most popular products. Ventress, you just said that you've greatly increased production capacity. As a result, the Mint has experienced a large spike in call volume and email traffic from customers. This shortage remains outside the Mint's control and will likely continue to hinder attempts to improve customer satisfaction in fiscal year 2023. As we work to address these challenges, the Mint proposes the CSI target of 84.5 remains for both 2023 and 2024. This is a lie. It is not, quote, impossible to fully meet customer demand. That you can do. You can do it starting right now. Go to the Sunshine Mint and say, hey, we'll give you an extra $1 per blank. Because we can do that. We're the U.S. Mint and we can pass through all the costs. So we want all of your 80 million blanks that you make 80 to 90 million blanks, silver blanks that you make. We want them all and we'll pay $1 extra for each one because it's a pass-through cost. God knows they're making enough money. The U.S. Mint shouldn't make money, but they are. I think they made $80 million last year on gold and silver bullion Eagles. That's illegal too, by the way. But obviously the authorized distributors are getting this huge premium. It's not as big as it used to be, but it's huge. So the Mint is broken, which is not a good thing for the Mint. We need full faith and confidence in the U.S. Mint to move to the next stage of our monetary system. When you can't trust the Mint, who's going to trust the silver and gold Eagles that they want to implement as money? Who's going to trust anything that comes out of the Mint? If they're actively participating to suppress the price of physical silver. That's what this does. And they're blaming the silver shortage. That is not a correct answer. First of all, it's been, 5 or 6 years that you've been saying the same thing over and over? It wasn't COVID. If it was COVID, what happened in 2016, 17, 18, 19 when you were allocating silver? There's nothing in the law that makes that legal. That's completely illegal to allocate silver at a amount less than what demand is. Your job is to fulfill demand, period. And you are failing miserable. And you know it because all these people are calling you saying, what the hell, U.S. Mint? And please do contact the Mint and say, what the hell? You're supposed to meet demand with Silver Eagles, and yet everybody's saying you're not. But here's what I think is about to happen. I do think we're going to have a banking crash very soon. I do think they're going to stop making Silver Eagles. I take that back. They're not going to stop making Silver Eagles. They're going to stop selling them to the public. as silver and gold will be part of our new monetary system. And oh, by the way, they implemented the new redesign of the Silver Eagle, put the little notch in, which is a positioner for the coin. So the Honeywell machinery can scan the crystalline structure of that specific Silver Eagle, and then put it on a blockchain. They could. Don't be afraid of CBDCs if it is structured like a good crypto, meaning you can't make it out of thin air, meaning it's an open source software, they're immutable, all the things that we love about Bitcoin, but there's no way the mint would do that. There's no way the central banks would do that. They already have what I would consider a private blockchain just in the databases that they have, how they run their monetary system right now. I mean, every bank is a ledger. Every central bank has a digital ledger. That's their CBDC. They can cut you off anytime they want already. They want more control, absolutely. But I would say no. Or we can even get government out of the money business, and then we can lay off the 35 million people who work for directly and indirectly for the government. Who needs them? We don't need government. What about our military? Okay, how much is our military? If we came and said, hey, let's bring our military home and put them on our borders. There you go. Let everybody else deal with their own problems. But no, then the communists will take over. Communism doesn't work. It's seen time and time again. Yes, it's very simplistic of me. I get it. But the fact that we're in like hundreds of different countries with our military, forcing our beliefs on other people who don't believe what we believe, that's just wrong. And it has been wrong for a very long time. Again, read John Perkins' book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. It'll blow your mind. All right, so they haven't announced it yet, but middle to near the end of November, they're going to say, all right, we're done selling Silver Eagles. And they do it every year. The reason they do it is they want to sell out of the current year, so they say, but they have it every year. I mean, by definition, if you're allocating Silver Eagles and withholding production, by definition, you've already sold out of the 2023s. So you're making the 2024s during December so that you can have a bunch of them. And that's why always in January is that big number. It's not just because they had to change the dies to the new date on them. It's a little more complicated than that, but not really. There's no reason to shut down in December, especially when you have massive backlogs. So why are you shutting down? Give me a reason why you're shutting down in December if you have massive backlogs. Did you sell out of the 2023? Probably did. So why not sell 2024s right now or make more 2023s? I mean, you could keep making 2023s all the way to the end of the year, right? And then you start with the 2024s. Why don't you do both? God knows the demand is there at these low prices. That's the key, at these low prices. They don't want to sell silver. The head of Silver Eagle, the head of the U.S. Mint, Mintage Gibson, told the head of Silver Eagle sales, we don't want to sell Silver Eagles. Stop selling Silver Eagles. And he's like, I can't. That's ridiculous. I can't. I have customers. Okay, then sell as few as you can. This is our government. This is the people we pay to work for us. I know. Okay, cryptos. Bitcoin's up at 36, 37,000. Snippy's waiting for that 38 to sell off. He's going to sell all his stuff, supposedly. Again, I think it's a huge mistake. I mean, you don't know what they're going to do. Of course cryptos are rigged. They're just like every other market. Probably rigged even more because the exchanges are so, I love it when cryptos run or get crushed, they shut down the exchanges. Why? So the people who own the exchange can get the first cryptos out there. And it's so wrought with fraud. But it doesn't tarnish the potential for cryptocurrencies. Massive. They are our future. But no, I'm not a fan of regulators at all. I couldn't think of a worse thing to happen to cryptocurrencies than to be fully regulated, or get industrial money into Bitcoin and have through ETFs, which is another just manipulation tool. If you have an ETF, the massive shorting because, I got Bitcoin in ETF and I'm going to short the shit out of it just like they do with silver on the derivative. An ETF is a derivative of Bitcoin. It is not Bitcoin. Grayscale. It is. You don't own any cryptos if you own some of the Grayscale ETF type crypto stuff. Cryptos are standalone assets in your own possession only. How many times do I have to scream it? You're going to find out very soon that chasing the tiny gains that you might get, and I sold Bitcoin because it went up 20%. I made 20%. And all of a sudden, one day, you don't have anything in your bank, and you're like going to buy Bitcoin, and it's up 300%, 400%. The only thing you can do is hodl right now. But I admire Snippy for his belief in what how he wants to benefit from trading. But I would never do it. The scariest moment in my life, and I was in my financial investing life, was not when cryptos crash 90%, not at all, or silver crashes 90%. The scariest moment was when I thought I could outthink the riggers, and I was in silver and gold mining stocks, and they had been pumping. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go short and do what the banksters do because I know they're about to slam it. And so I did a short on one of my favorite mining stocks, and I was sweating for 3 days. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? You have unlimited losses when you're short, by the way. Unlimited. Ask the GameStop guys. Unless you can go to the exchanges and say, let's cheat, let's lie, let's steal. But it was terrible. And I closed out that short, lost some money. I'm like, I don't even care. I'm a hodler. I'm never going to go short. And to me, when you sell off your position in cryptos, it's just like going short. You're just not going to benefit if there's a massive run up. And if there's a crash in the system, you're not going to be able to buy back in. That's the biggest problem because the exchanges will shut down. So that's my take, at least. All right. And as I said, Bitcoin explodes on heavy institutional buying. I think that's the worst thing for Bitcoin. When the institutions start to fail, because they're heavily invested in the rest of the system, they're going to have to sell whatever liquid assets they have. Bitcoin would be one of the first assets they sell. So I'm not happy about it. But hey, I don't get to make the rules. I am happy about the Theta run. Ooh, look at that. Somebody's angry at Theta. It was up in the 93, 94, and somebody just slammed it down. That's a single sale, probably Binance. Binance pretty much controls the whole Theta market. And they are obviously a massive holder of Theta. They're one of the Guardian nodes. And they don't want Theta to run until they're ready. And they've loaded up on all their Theta. And it's rigged. So, but Theta's doing amazing things. Go to CoinMarketCap, go to the Theta, look up Theta. And then right on the right side, there's I read this Theta network analysis thing. It's like a full-blown analysis of what Theta is. And it gives price projections and predictions. I don't buy into what they have to say on that because they don't give a rational explanation other than just guessing. But you always like seeing, Theta, their price projection for the end of this year is $1.86 maximum, $1.47. That's like doubling from here, right? And then 2024, the low of $3 and the high of $4.61. It's great to see. By 2050, they're looking at $116. It's guessing. But everything they give a great description on what Theta is doing and why they're predicting this. And you can get it all from other information, but it's all in one place right here. And they say, why do we predict this for 2030? I don't think Theta will be a slow, smooth move. I think and has shown to be extremely volatile. And like the day that it's announced that Theta is traded on Coinbase, you're going to see a massive jump in the price of Theta. The day that it is announced that Amazon will be using Theta's subchain for their Amazon token, you're going to see a massive increase in Theta Fuel for that one, most likely. And then Netflix is going to use them as their seeding. All these announcements are coming over time. So yeah, definitely get Theta, get it in your own possession. Theta Fuel, if you stake Theta Fuel, you're looking at 7-8% return on your investment through because you're participating in sharing broadband and running the Theta Edge nodes. You are earning T-Fuel, and T-Fuel is going to be used in all the subchains. Don't forget. So when Amazon says I'm going to make the Amazon coin using the Theta subchain network, which is very secure, and it's not their own proprietary network because they can lie, cheat, and steal on that one, all those transactions will be people will need Theta Fuel for. So you'll have companies like Amazon buying Theta Fuel just to help their network out, their own network. And we'll see that. I don't know how many companies will end up doing it. But yeah, I think that's a massive driver of the price of T-Fuel and the price of Theta. I mean, Theta is the mothership, and all the little kids are out there. Theta, T-Drop for NFTs and things like that. So yes, I'm a big fan of Theta. I know it's very hard to get in the United States. Contact Caleb and Brown. Caleb and Brown, they're a crypto broker, and they've figured out a way to work with the U.S. regulating system and the banking system, which is the hardest. Go to your bank and say, I want to transfer $100,000 to a crypto broker, and your bank will probably kick you out of their bank. That's part of the control mechanism. So, but that is the future. If you're into Theta, go for it. Read that article. And it is at financeshots.com, Theta Network Price Prediction. Okay. And that's what I got for you. Again, so much going on. I do think they will stop selling Silver Eagles. I don't think the 2024 Silver Eagle, they'll make it, but it'll be part of the allocation of the new money, I believe. That's a big thing. But again, I've been doing this for 23 years, watching the same criminals. We're closer than we've ever been. And now that JP Morgan has lost all of its silver holdings that it stole from 2008 to 2016, it passed through Bank of America, and I think it's ended up in ridiculously strong hands. That's where we are. That's what I got for you. I'll be talking to Jenny Moonstone in about an hour. I'll post that on the private road. Lots of stuff to talk about in the battle to regain our freedom. I'd say gain our freedom. Since I've been alive, I've never been free. Since you've been alive, you've never been free. We haven't had true freedom in a long time, and it's scary. Freedom is scary. You got to take care of yourself, which is very scary. Yeah, we might not be able to talk on the internet during this transition. I don't know. But I'll be talking about that with Jenny and post it on the private road. All right, you guys take care.